It's the Swipe Life podcast with comedians Dana Alexander and A. Dean McQueen. Yes, dating tips for everybody. Make sure you follow us at the Swipe Life podcast. Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Swipe Life podcast. My name is Dana Alexander, and I'm joined by
A. Dean McQueen. Hello.
Yeah, so you'll have to excuse us. You can see that we've changed the format a little bit. So I should probably just be honest. We did some pre-recording. So we've had some time pass since we've tried this dating experiment. So we actually have some. I'm off the market, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm in a relationship now. And how about you, girl? How are you doing with stuff?
Oh, I'm getting on great. I'll tell you all about stuff. Nothing I can disclose publicly thus far.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, look at us. So we're going to have to just delve back into where everything went. So I basically lost touch with almost every single person that I was talking to, except for one, the one that just I wanted to be friends with. So I'll text him every now and again just to make sure he's okay.
Okay, just to make sure he's okay. Why? What was up with him? Which one was this now?
Dunya.
Oh God, yeah, he wanted a relationship really quickly. He wanted you to be exclusive. You hadn't even been together. He was mad about you. So how is he reacting? Because he really didn't want to be friends, but you've managed to friend zone him very successfully. How did you do it?
Well, we don't talk excessively, but something kind of was going on with him, and I wanted to just double check that everything was okay with him. So I just did like a little check-in. So I just kind of, how's everything? Are we still okay? Yeah, I'm okay. You're safe. You're happy. Yeah. And that's basically where it ended there. But yeah, I basically I got back with my ex.
Of
much for the dating experiment. But that doesn't mean that we have nothing to talk about.
No. And do you think you got back with your ex because you were out there meeting people and you thought, oh, Jesus, I can't be arsed with all this dating. I'm going to go back with him? Or do you think he was drawn to you and you because he could feel that you were footloose and fancy free and you had all these choices? Or is it neither of those?
You know what was so funny? Well, I was still single, right? And then we had the hiatus because you're in Edinburgh and everything else. So it just kind of happened naturally. There was a few things. I mean, I'm not going to go into I'm not going to out his business on here. But yeah, I did get back with him. But I did have some interesting stories about some of the guys. One of the guys, I don't know if you remember the one that that picked me up in Leicester Square.
Yeah, the real street meet, like it was 1992. Of course, I remember this.
Girl, there's two street meets, but yeah, remember when let's talk about some red flags. So I had a big red flag when it came to him. Sorry, it's very hot in here. And that was that he was a Nigel Farage supporter.
Okay,
and I'm like, you're black. No, he's black. That's why I was like, that is a red flag. And I just told him, right? Because I'm like, I can't deal with any of that. You know what it was like at that station.
Yeah.
So then he was like, yeah, do you want to hear about your red flags? And then he wrote me this soliloquy, girl.
Okay, so let's pause for a second. So just in case the listeners don't realize, Dana had a stint on GB News as their agitating left-wing person. So she would have had a previous with all of this world. So for her to be told that this guy is a Nigel Farage fan is mind-blowing. So he then read you the Riot Act.
Oh, yeah, he did. And I didn't read it because I was like, you know what? This is when I actually felt like I made progress. I'm like, I'm not going to let this Nigel Farage lover read me down. On what planet do we live on? So I think I got 2 sentences into it, and then I was like, lock that off.
Oh my God, you should read it over a glass of wine sometime just for the content. I'm sure it's ridiculous. But
do you know what? I know myself and my capability for spiraling. So I was like, girl,
fair enough.
Leave it alone. And he doesn't, he's met me twice. Who is he to read me down?
Yeah, exactly. Although you read him down, you met him twice. But did he give an explanation as to why he was so into Farage?
He thought that Nigel Farage had good ideas. I said, which ones?
And what did he respond?
And he was like, I don't know why you have to be combative. Da, 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 da. I'm like, listen, man, this isn't going to work out. I was just like, that was a red line for me. I'm like, we see what's happening right now with all of these crazy protests outside the hotels now. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean?
That's
Hell no.
bananas.
To betray
So
my
where
hell
was he
no.
from?
I think his family was from was it no. What's the one that's never been colonized in Africa?
Ethiopia.
Liberia. I think it was Liberia.
Okay.
I think so. I can't remember. One of these countries. Yeah, West African country. So yeah, that is that. My
That
God,
is so
that was
funny. And because I know that if those guys are into this right-wing kind of manosphere world, and I had an ex who was very much into, he wouldn't listen to Andrew Tate, but he'd listen to stuff that was on the edges of that world. And I'd imagine him saying, like, he's got a few good pints now, Andrew Tate. So they have these men pass around these red flags that women have. And some of the red flags would be if you're a single mom. So that's not you. Another red flag is if you have any tattoos. Do you have any tattoos?
5.
5 tattoos. I've got no tattoos, but that's because I'm an alcoholic. I just couldn't afford tattoos, right? It's not that I didn't want them.
Plenty of drinkers have tattoos.
Drink a tattoo. Yeah. But I was a drop down really bad. My priority was never tattoos. It's not that I'm special. Do you know what I mean? I would have gotten them. What else? So tattoos is meant to be a red flag in these men's eyes because the tattoo shows anxiety, body modification. Being a single mom, they think is terrible. Talking bad about your ex. Now, I think if you're talking bad about every single ex and you don't give them any virtues, that's a red flag for men and for women.
I dropped the ex talk. I didn't really talk about.
You don't.
I didn't. You know what the thing is? I didn't have anything against him. Have you ever heard me like? I'll tell you a situation that's maybe bad, but I don't.
No, you don't. You don't. Just giving examples of these kind of rules that these men have. Being a feminist, that's a big one for them. They hate that. That's a red flag. What other things are red flags? Oh, you have high body count. That's the biggest red flag that they have, the high body count. You know, Andrew Tate believes that he's a high value man because he has sex with lots of women. And then if a woman has sex with loads of men, is a low value woman. So he's the crown jewels and I'm like a shitty tiara from Claire's Accessories. So
do you know what I did manage to see?
Mm-hmm.
The conversation between Bonnie Blue and Andrew Tate.
I want to watch that. That's on my list when I come back from Edinburgh. How did that go?
You know, we'll do that on another episode. But
yeah,
basically he was, and I'll bring some clips in and everything. I didn't really want to get into it because for those of you guys who don't know, Bonnie Blue is a porn actor, OnlyFans creator, content creator.
You're right not to say star, although she is a star because she's famous, but it's such a low base to be a porn star. They're porn actors, or porn.
Well, her big controversy for those of our people who don't know is that she had sex with 1,000 men in 12 hours. Because you saw it on the channel. Did you see the Channel 4 documentary?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Again, on my list. Tell me.
Just to give you guys like a gist. So the big controversy with this girl is, especially after she was talking, with Andrew Tate and everything, she almost agrees with everything that he says. But, a lot of people had a problem with her doing that many people in one day. And they suppose that, she's a little dead behind the eyes, they say. She doesn't really do this. She's trolling us. Everybody has a different opinion. What is your opinion? I mean, it doesn't matter to me. That's my opinion.
I find it really fascinating, right? Because everybody hates her in a way. I'm not saying you do, but there's feminists that don't like her. Men don't like her, right? So feminism is supposed to espouse that women can do whatever they want. I mean, within legality, right? Within not hurting people. But yet people have a real problem with this woman because she goes for barely legal boys, which I think is gross, but it's not immoral. And she sleeps with so many men. So we've gone from prostitutes or sex workers who've been taken advantage of by pimps and that living in that seedy world to this mega entrepreneur woman who seems to control her own wealth, who's making up to $1 million a month on her OnlyFans, and people are really affronted by it, and nobody can give a really good explanation why. Now, religious people will say it's because sex is a spiritual act and it should be sacred, but that's still not a legal reason. Then other people just say it's wrong, it's giving men the wrong idea about women being disposable and the likes. But we've got a very permissive society with sex anyway. She's just taking it to an industrial level. Like she's like an athlete nearly. Like the fact, like I can't even comprehend how she did that. Like she must have been exhausted. And then, she's like this Olympic athlete. I mean, she should be winning prizes. And like, you know, men are sports stars. They do rugby for a career. They injure their bodies for the entertainment of men. They get lots of money and then their career is fucked. We don't criticize them. So it's weird that we criticize her so much. So I kind of think, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a good idea. It'd be interesting to what happens in the long run. A lot of porn stars commit suicide. There's a really high rate of alcohol and drug addiction in the porn world. But if this woman is able to do it and make money, I mean, imagine if I could do that for 2 years, get out with 10 million, I would.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people, she said straight up to this one girl in an interview, she's like, well, you couldn't do it. You probably don't have the cardio and you're not hot enough. I was like, yikes. But
I know.
I mean, I think people are more offended that she would want to do this. And I think she wants to do this. I don't think she's being pressurized. I think that she is completely happy to get on her back. Like, these are her ideas. She does it in a way. She'll rent out a place. She'll pay off thousands of pounds to rent out a place. She'll make money from the content, of course. And then these guys will just come in, just coming in, coming out. She seems like she's really enjoying herself. And I think that's what offends people the most. The only issue I have, I know that they are legal, but she really kind of leans into wanting to be with particularly young men, maybe a guy that just turned 18 on his first day. I don't think that I don't like the ethics, even though he's an adult, right? But I don't like the ethics of a brand new 18-year-old in a ski mask, you know, gang banging a woman as a first experience. I don't think that's probably
it's not going to lead to really romantic, sustainable relationship in the future. But these lads have been watching porn since they're 9. It's a huge thing. My friend works in a pharmacy, and she says Viagra, all of that's flying out the door. But for lads in their early 20s, because when it comes to real sex with a normal woman, it does nothing for them. They can't.
And that's the part where I find her hypocritical, because I think she'll go on and she'll say, I'm teaching them, you know, porn is different than reality. But it's like, what you're doing doesn't really parallel reality. Like, there's not a lot of girls who are going to go to the same length and enjoy everything that you enjoy. Because she just tells them straight up, do anything you want with me, except for, you know, she'll have a couple things. Let's not get into it. But like,
and the thing is, people will look at her as, because we always look at women who've been in sex work as victims, and they call it soft power, even though they have power. And she denies all victimhood. And this is quite shocking. And like, I mean, I know in the counseling and social work, when I was gripping up alcohol and I went to a treatment center and they asked about my sexual life or my sexual past, they were really shocked by how many men I'd been with. And they then said, but were you abused? Were you traumatized? How did this happen? They were shaking me to try and get me to say that I'd been abused or something, because it didn't make sense for them. But I was like, no, I went into this with my eyes open. I had a drink. I definitely did stuff I regretted, but I was taking advantage of situations to get drink from men or to get money from men, just as much as they are taking advantage of me. So she takes away this kind of almost the innocent victimhood of womanhood, because she's so adamant that she's not a victim, which I like the honesty of it. And saying that to somebody like, you wouldn't be able to do the cardio and you wouldn't be hot enough, that's just hilarious. She doesn't flinch. She's a great speaker. She doesn't make a mistake. She knows all her lines. She says them. She's like a weird sex politician.
She is a little dead behind the eyes.
I think that's the Botox.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but she just, like, there's if you kind of look in there, you're like, is anyone? But then I kind of feel like, because what I was when the other psychologists were talking about it, they were saying a lot of people who go into that work or do something with that those acts that are, you know, a little bit extreme, well, particularly very extreme, I would say, is they start dissociating.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, that would make sense to me, but I mean, who wouldn't dissociate for that kind of money?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can just, lie back and think of England. That's what women were doing for hundreds of years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dissociating. I've dissociated and found it fine. I would be able to do what Bonnie Blue does easier than I would a marathon, because a marathon is much more hard work and long-term strategy. This is so short-term strategy. If I was hot and had as much kind of almost neurodivergent levels of not caring what people think as she did. Yeah.
That could be it too. It could be neurodiversity. I mean, who am I to judge or diagnose anyone? But while we're on the subject, what do you think about this whole idea of body count? You brought it up a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
what do you think is like what's an acceptable number for a woman our age?
I don't think so. Now, it's really interesting because I've slept with a lot of people, often when I was drunk, and mostly, I've never had that many really great one-night stands where I could say, oh, it was so wonderful and it was such a great experience, so liberating. There's always been a bit of tension afterwards. Maybe I see the person on the street, they ignore me. That kind of stuff is bad. Somebody that you were kind of friends with and had a nice flirty relationship with, and then now you sleep with them and then it becomes weird. And, now that I'm like 3 years sober, I have a different value on things, and I don't have the same appetite for sex or that kind of sexual encounter or just mess in my life. So I don't know if casual sex is a good idea. And I think cherishing sex makes for a stronger relationship. Like if you defer sex with a man, they'll do everything for you. They'll give you lifts from the airport. They'll fix stuff in your house. They'll buy you stuff.
About this, yeah.
Yeah, they really will. So I don't know if I'm, how would you say, damaged or fecked up in some way by having had a lot of partners. I don't know what I would have been like if I hadn't. I mean, I look at my mother, she probably only had one partner. Her marriage is very happy to my dad, but that's rare. They adore each other. They're both very annoying.
Times have changed.
Yeah, times have changed, but have humans changed? So, I mean, I should not regret the past. But if I had my way again, I'm lucky, I'm alive, I'm happy, I'm doing well in life. I don't, but if I had my life again, I wouldn't behave in the same way regarding sex.
Oh God, we all have the ones that we regret, girl.
Yeah.
We all have those ones that we regret. But you know what?
I don't think,
I don't know, I'm getting...
Sometimes we might be sold up the garden path with the idea that casual sex is liberating for women. It's liberating for very good-looking men. Because very good-looking men can have sex with loads of women. So let's say I have sex, I'm like a 6 out of 10, and I have sex with a man who's a 9 out of 10, or he, it doesn't have to be just good-looking. He's got a good job, he's got a good personality, he's popular. I think that's my level then, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to be with him. He's not interested in me. He wants another 9 or a 10, and then I can't settle for a normal guy that's at my level. So you could be affected by that.
Dickspectations?
Dickspectations, yeah. So Dick'spointment. So
or sexpectations.
Yeah. So there's these certain, the top tier men, as they call them. They get to sleep around, these patriarchs, put it about like goats, and then the more average to lower ranking men, and I don't like ranking people like that, but this is how they talk about it in the manosphere, will have this bitterness that all the women are chasing. Apparently 80% of the women chase 20% of the men. And I kind of see that. I think, you can, like, sometimes on Tinder, I'm like, they've done it briefly. I've matched with these really handsome men that I was like, they're not going to be interested in me, but they'll like me. And then I think, they just match with everybody. And then, whatever. And then they'll just use and abuse or pump and dump. So that's my experience.
Well, I kind of took I think because I had just gotten out of a relationship, I was too I wasn't ready. Do you know what I mean? And I think through your advice, it got me thinking a lot more about just how I want to do things in the future. You know what's really weird is that I'm actually I think I'm definitely maybe. This is supposed to be the time that we're more sexually active as women. This is our prime, right? But I think I'm less likely, maybe a little bit younger, but yeah, I still feel like, I have the urge and everything, but I can't jump in quickly like I used to anymore. Like that that's done, I think. But you know what? If anybody else wants to do that, I'm cool with it. But you know what's so strange about it is that it seems like the next generation, they're a little bit, I think they're having less sex than we were.
They're having less sex in person.
In person. That's a very good distinction to make.
I was saying how the theory about promiscuity and body count, I think body count can be probably damaging for both men and women, depending. Now, I don't know, I'd love to ask gay friends about it, how they feel, because a lot of my gay friends are very promiscuous. They make straighties' body counts seem like primary school lunch money. But body count, they say, the men will say it's bad for women, but it's not bad for men. And women will have that attitude as well sometimes. But like, the problem with it is that you might be able to pair bond because you've bonded with so many different people that you mightn't be able to make a real strong bond with somebody. Now, I think body count can be really bad for men because, number one, their reputation is damaged. Men don't talk to each other. Women talk. Like, I'm sure at some stage we've like drawn a picture of another guy's weird penis on a beer mat and showed it to each other or something. Like, we love to gossip. So we tell everything, right? So it's reputationally damaging for men. And I'm sure they have all
I have a story.
Yeah, they can't settle down either if they're used to having loads of casual sex. And then men are watching more porn and going to sex workers and stuff. So they need to count all those people in their body count as well. Any stepsister stuck in an oven or a tumble dryer that they've wanked off to. So, yeah,
I remember
interesting.
I remember you're right about us talking because I remember being at a comedy show and I was with two other girls and we'd all slept with this same comic. And he saw us together and he looked terrified.
Brilliant.
I don't know though. I don't know. I don't know if I would be able to handle two. I don't think I've ever had to handle two in the same room like that. That would stress me out. I would leave. I would bounce.
I have. And you know what? I know they weren't going to say a word. They don't talk to each other. I don't know what they speak about, but it's nothing interesting. And it's not actually women. Like, this whole locker talk thing is totally exaggerated. So I felt safe that wouldn't happen to me. And then, yeah, there was one person that we all mutually slept with as well, Dana, a lot of us.
Yeah.
And we had good things to say about this man in bed. So
I didn't say, I don't have anything wrong with it. I think at the end of the day, I think sex is a normal part of life.
Yeah.
I wish that we demystified it a little bit. Like when you go to places like Holland, they start sexual education quite a bit earlier than they do with their kids. But then what they were finding is that kids were like losing their virginity later. Do you know what I mean? And having better quality sex because they were taught it in such a liberal way, and it wasn't something to be ashamed of. Like even when remember when we went to the Netherlands, those people are ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, they seem really shy, but they are ready for it. That night, we're gonna try you out. We're all jumping in the sauna with no clothes on, but they're so liberal. But you wouldn't expect it because they seem so conservative.
They do. They have that buttoned up Protestant thing, but on the other hand, they're like, yes, let us take off our clothes now. It's no problem. I'm naked in the pool. You are too. Yeah, they are like that, aren't they?
They are. So let's get into something a little bit more salacious, if you will. Just as a little bit of a teaser, because we're going to start doing because we do have the content for our Patreon. We just haven't started it yet. I'm sorry. But we're going to give you a little bit of a preview of something that we promised you quite a bit earlier in the podcast. You had an experience with seeking arrangement, correct?
Yeah. So I did. So years ago, this is 10 years ago.
And no love for seeking. Nobody came back to me just like I thought they would on seeking. Like a couple people did, but they weren't wealthy.
No, there's a lot of people. So Seeking Arrangements is like this website where they advertise it as a meetup website. So to the women, they advertise it like you're a young woman, maybe you've started your own business, maybe you're in university, and you need a bit of a hand with stuff. So why not pair up with an older gentleman? He's experienced, he knows about wine, he can invest in your business, and you can just go and meet for dinner, because what do 23-year-old women and 63-year-old men have in common? Loads. They love talking about spread betting and the bond market and nail varnish. So they would bill it as this kind of innocent fun thing where you just went and had a meal with a man. So a lot of people I know, I think it's 5% of students in University College Dublin were on it at a stage, go on it thinking they'll get a few bags. And then they're really shocked when the men are like, no, I want to have sex with you. It's usually just a man going, what will you do? What are you willing to do? And they'll ask you straight up. So it's kind of like sex work. But the difference with seeking arrangements is that you will go on a date with these men, usually have dinner with them, and they'll give you the money afterwards. Whereas sex work, you get the money before and you wouldn't have the social aspect. And the other thing about seeking is that, I was going to say, yeah, a lot of men, you think, why wouldn't they use a sex worker? Well,
yeah, I was just going to ask
yeah,
that.
well, you see, a lot of men, sex workers, you have to use contraception. You have to use condoms. And men, especially Irish men, they hate it. They can't get them to put a Johnny on. No way. Good luck getting an Irish man to put a Johnny on, especially an older one. So with this, you have this girlfriend experience. And sometimes, often, they want exclusivity with this woman as well. And some of the women will pretend to give exclusivity or the illusion of exclusivity. And there's different levels of it. Like, so it was all kind of on the go, and there was documentaries about it on Channel 4. And me and my friend, who were comedians, were like, let's do it. Let's just go on it, get a bit of material. You know, like, you know, the comedian's brain. Like, no matter how bad anything is, it could be content. So
Speak
I always
for
say,
yourself, girl.
really?
Speak for yourself, girl.
Do you never think that? No, God, this is terrible. Okay, maybe I should disclose my life then, Dana.
No. I'm just saying, don't speak, but I'm just saying, I'm so, you know, we're so different. I'm a bit shy when it comes to certain things.
Yeah. So I went on this anyway, and the sorry, I can't remember. I'm so tired. So basically, I had this mindset of, no, even if bad stuff happens, at least I could get some material out of it. Well, my motto at the time was, lose a bloke, gain a joke, bad shag, good gag. And
okay, so give us the joke then, girl. I'm curious.
No. I didn't actually get any jokes out of it, but I went on a date anyway. I met up with this guy, and like, I would have been in the older age range of these ladies. So most of them would be really hot 20-year-olds. And I was 32, but I lied. I said I was 27. And I would have been having to go much older. So I met this guy. He lied about his age as well. Turns out he was 30 years older than me. And I just got really drunk. Like, I just had a small bottle of whiskey in my handbag, which I drank before the date. Got on the date, got on great. You know, who wouldn't when you've got a small bottle of whiskeys in you? And, you know, like, because I have like old man taste and stuff, like Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan. You know, we've got loads in common with these people. And, I like history, and they've lived through the Vietnam War. So, like, there's loads you can chat about when you're drinking. And then I went home, went to bed with him. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, he's putting his shoe on with a shoehorn. Like, that's not hot. You know, maybe you have a shoehorn, maybe you use one, but don't use it in a one-night stand type situation. That's
plugged in. He's using his landline and shit.
Yeah, he had little socks on, little tennis shoes, and I was so hungover, and all I did was, like, thought, I'm never going back. That's just the worst. And he got me a taxi, and then in the taxi he rang me and he was like, look in your bag, and there was 2 500 euro notes. Like, I'd never even seen, I didn't even know they existed, 500 euro notes. So it was 1,000 euros. Like, wow. So I thought, oh, okay. And then the next night I got pissed and I rang him. And then it started a cycle where I'd get pissed, I'd ring him, we'd hook up, and the likes of that. So there's loads more to it. And there's loads more to it, but I'll save that for the Patreon. But yeah, it's a very interesting look at men. A lot of these guys are high-powered enough businessmen. And a lot of people who've been successful in their professional life, they sacrifice the emotional life. So they don't have the emotional capacity for proper relationships, they're not good with game, they're not good at flirting, they're a little bit odd, maybe a bit of neurodivergence. And so for them, this transactional exchange with a woman is ideal. And then there's men, they call them salt daddies in the sugar daddying. These guys pretend to have money, but they could be like a primary school teacher or something. And then you kind of like, your women are like, because I've listened to loads of podcasts about this, women are like, so where's the money? And they're like, oh, I just bought you dinner. Is that not enough? A friend of mine's dad was doing it, and he was an older Jewish guy living in North London. And because of that, stereotypes are bad, but they do save time. All these women were flocking to him on the site. But he had no money. His North London address was with his mother. And he was bringing these women on dates, sleep with them, and then see ya. So
wow. See, for me, that seems a bit shady, just in the sense that, like, it's not really giving. It's not saying everything on the package that it's really about. That's the part I don't like about the deception, because I could see myself being naive like that, and then I don't know how I would feel if somebody put money in my bag like that.
Of course. But I was an active alcoholic at the time. I just wanted the easy life. I wasn't making decisions based on what was good for me. I was making decisions on what was easy for me. And the other thing was, and then of course I was into this, like, well, I've slept with so many losers anyway for free. I've been in the amateur ranks of the sex industry for years. I might as well just go pro. I justified it completely. I thought it was great.
This is exactly what both Bonnie Blue and Andrew Tate said. Andrew Tate is convinced that all women are just prostitutes. Some people just have one client. I thought that was a little crazy, because you know what? I know a lot of women out there who are not shagging their husbands. So I don't see how you're a sex worker. I can see that you're a maid. I can see that you may be cooking some stuff up in the kitchen. Yeah. But come on now, let's be real.
I know in Ireland there used to be no sex before marriage. And now, according to my friends, there's no sex after marriage. It's bananas. I've never been married, but it's very interesting. I mean, Andrew Tate is very extreme. And Bonnie Blue,
I have a question for you. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay. I have a question for you on that line of topic, that line of questioning. Would you ever be in a relationship that with somebody and not have sex with them?
I don't know, because I've never been in that many long-term relationships. I don't think I'd like it at all. I've never been in a relationship where we weren't having sex, except maybe one boyfriend that I didn't like, and I was too young and immature to break up with him properly. So I just tried to drift away with him by being totally sexually ungiving and mean to him. Really, it was horrible. I was really bad. So I don't think it's healthy. I think you should have a bit of sex, definitely. Everything in moderation, everything has its place. But then women seem to, once they have a baby, it completely evaporates from a lot of them, I think. I don't know. So I've never had a child. I don't know what that would be like. I've never been in that long-term relationship. I don't think it's ideal. I think a healthy sex life is, of course, a great representation of your love for your partner. And even if I wasn't in the mood for sex, I still have sex with my partner, because I'm just like, they're being sent to me in other ways.
And that's the work part, I guess, right? But
yeah,
I always thought, like, for those women, I don't know if I would mind, like, these might be controversial, things, but like sometimes, because I think men just have a different need than we do. And I really feel like because I think a lot of women after a certain age, they're just done with men. But I don't think I would mind if he was stepping out in that instance, because I wasn't. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you'd have to be right. Okay, well, if I'm not giving him a bit of love, he needs to go to the other grocery store. I see what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes these girls, I think there's a lot of women who are like, just I think they just turn the other way so they don't have to do the work themselves. And I know that sounds like such a horrible thing to do, but I believe that, because I think once you're with someone, you kind of can figure out when, what's going on with them. I think a lot of women probably, I could be wrong, maybe turn a blind eye. The only thing that would bother me is if it was with a sex worker, would be the safety thing, because
and in general, the safety thing and the risk of him having a child outside of the relationship. I'm
Jamaican, so
you just have to take that. Yeah, that's it. That's going to happen.
It wouldn't shock me, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah, I think the French women. It's not. People think the French are very pro-affair and like all having affairs. It's not that they're pro-affair, but they're much more tolerant of it happening. If it does, when it happens, and they'll deal with it, as long as you're not embarrassing the wife, as long as you're not bringing this woman hussy into public or people don't know about it. If you have her sequestered away, they call it the 5 à 7, 5 to 7. Sure, you know, because you leave la boîte, the office, at 5. You go over to la petite fille, the girlfriend. 5 to 7 you spend with her, and then you go home to the wife at 7. Say you were working late. I mean, I don't know how much that lifestyle exists now when both people are working
in this economy.
Yeah, I know. It seems like I can't even imagine getting out of work at 5. That seems mental. But
I can't imagine cheating. I've never cheated.
Good for you. Good for you.
But I have had two. I've been dating multiple people at the same time. But the thing, I think, a lot of men, they think it's just so much easier. They're like, oh, no strings attached, and they don't want to be attached. And then when you're like, okay, I'm cool with it, and you do your own thing, then it's an issue.
Yeah. They want no strings attached. You have to be little Pinocchio dancing for them. That's very true.
Oh, Lord. So I guess that kind of brings us to the end. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Swipe Life Podcast. Make sure you follow us on all of our platforms. I'll just change the thing so you can kind of see right there at the bottom. The Swipe Life Podcast, Patreon soon to come, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Spotify. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.